Here's something that'll mess with your head. Scientists have proven that believing you're lucky actually makes you luckier, not metaphorically, statistically, measurably. People who think they're lucky find more opportunities, make better decisions under pressure, and even recover from setbacks faster than people with identical skills who consider themselves unlucky. Which means your grandmother rubbing that rabbit's foot before her bingo game. She might have been onto something your rational brain has been rejecting your entire life. I'm Willow, and today we're diving into 8 so-called superstitions that neuroscience, psychology, and behavioral economics have validated as legitimate cognitive tools. We're not talking magic. We're talking about psychological mechanisms your ancestors accidentally discovered that genuinely shift probabilities in your favor. Some of these will validate habits you already have. Others will make you question whether you've been leaving advantages on the table your whole life. And by the end, you'll understand why the world's most successful people, from elite athletes to billionaire investors, practice rituals that look absolutely ridiculous from the outside. Let's break the code on luck itself. Number 8. Standing in a power pose for 2 minutes before important events. You've probably seen this mocked online. People standing like superheroes in bathroom stalls before job interviews. But Harvard and Columbia researchers found that holding expansive postures, high-power poses for just 120 seconds measurably increases testosterone, decreases cortisol, and makes people 20% more likely to take advantageous risks. Your ancestors didn't know about hormones, but warriors across every culture performed expansion rituals before battle. They'd beat their chests, raise weapons overhead, occupy maximum space. Modern athletes still do this. Watch any UFC fighters walk out. Watch Serena Williams between points. That's not just intimidation, it's physiological preparation. Your body doesn't distinguish between actually being powerful and merely occupying the physical space of power. The pose literally rewires your neurochemistry within minutes. So that lucky stance your uncle takes before bowling, the way your coach made you stand before competitions, they weren't crazy. They were accidentally biohacking stress hormones. And here's the practical magic. Nobody needs to see you do it. 2 minutes in a private space before anything that matters. You'll walk in chemically different than you would have otherwise. Number 7. Carrying a lucky object. Cologne University researchers ran a fascinating experiment. They gave golfers a ball and told half the group it was a lucky ball. Same ball, different label. The lucky ball group performed 35% better. Not because of magic. Because the object served as a cognitive anchor for confidence. Your brain loves tangible symbols. Abstract confidence is hard to maintain under pressure. But a physical object? That's concrete. It's a delivery mechanism for self-belief. Think about it. A professional musician's lucky pick. A surgeon's specific pair of shoes. A CEO's particular pen for signing major deals. These people aren't stupid. They're unconsciously using external objects to stabilize internal states. The object itself doesn't matter. What matters is the consistent association you've built. Every time you've succeeded with that object present, your brain strengthens the neural pathway between the item and positive outcomes. It becomes a shortcut, a psychological loading screen that boots up your best performance state faster than willpower alone ever could. So yeah, that weird bracelet you always wear to presentations? Keep it. Your rational mind might judge it, but your performance brain is getting a measurable advantage. Number 6. Pre-performance rituals. Athletes are notorious for this. Wade Boggs ate chicken before every game. Serena Williams bounces the ball exactly 5 times before her first serve, 15 times before her second. Neurologically, rituals reduce cognitive load. Decision fatigue is real. Every choice you make depletes mental resources. But a ritual, that's autopilot. It's a pre-programmed sequence that gets you from point A to point B without burning executive function. Researchers at Harvard Business School found that people who perform rituals before stressful tasks show lower heart rates and better performance than those who don't. The ritual creates a psychological buffer zone between normal life and performance mode. It's a mental airlock. And here's what makes it powerful. The content of the ritual barely matters. What matters is consistency. Your brain learns the pattern. Ritual equals performance time. The nervous system starts preparing before you consciously try. It's classical conditioning, but you're conditioning yourself. That odd thing you do before big moments, that specific order you make coffee before important work, that's not quirky, that's strategic. You're building a neurological bridge between routine and excellence. The universe isn't rewarding your ritual, your brain is. Number 5. Believing in hot streaks. For decades, scientists insisted the hot hand in basketball was a statistical illusion. Players who made several shots in a row weren't actually more likely to make the next one. Except newer research completely reversed this. Turns out the original studies had methodological flaws. When you're hot, you actually do perform better, but not because the universe is rewarding you. Because confidence compounds. Success triggers dopamine. Dopamine improves motor control and decision-making. Better decisions lead to more success. More success triggers more dopamine. It's a feedback loop. Your ancestors called this momentum. Modern neuroscience calls it positive affect and performance enhancement. Same thing. When you believe you're on a streak, you take smarter risks, focus better, and execute more cleanly. So when something's working, ride it. Don't overthink it. Don't rationalize yourself out of momentum because it shouldn't last. Your brain is literally in a heightened performance state. The streak isn't magic. It's neurochemistry. But the belief in the streak is what maintains the neurochemistry. Doubt breaks the cycle. Confidence extends it. Athletes know this instinctively. The best ones protect their streaks psychologically, not because they're superstitious, but because they understand that mental state drives physical output. Number 4. Believing certain days or times are luckier. This sounds completely irrational until you understand chronobiology and the psychology of expectation. Your body and brain operate on rhythms, circadian rhythms, ultradian rhythms. Cognitive performance genuinely peaks at different times for different people. Morning people actually do think better early. Night owls genuinely perform better late. That's not superstition, that's biology. But here's where it gets interesting. When you designate a specific day or time as your lucky time, you're creating a temporal anchor. You schedule important activities during that window. Over time, you accumulate more successes during that period, which reinforces the belief, which makes you more confident during that time, which improves performance. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, but the prophecy is based on legitimate chronobiological advantage, plus psychological priming. Athletes compete better at their preferred times. Gamblers who believe in lucky days actually do manage their bankroll more carefully on those days because they're more engaged. So, figure out when you naturally perform best. Then ritualize it. Claim it. Tell yourself, that's your power window. You're not lying to yourself. You're aligning psychology with physiology and watching them amplify each other. Number 3. Manifestation and visualization. Before you roll your eyes, separate the New Age language from the cognitive science. Elite athletes have used visualization for decades because it works. When you vividly imagine performing an action, your motor cortex fires in similar patterns to actual performance. Neurologically, your brain is practicing. Mental rehearsal creates and strengthens neural pathways. Surgeons visualize procedures. Musicians visualize performances. Special forces operators visualize missions. But manifestation goes beyond motor skills. When you clearly define what you want and regularly visualize achieving it, something fascinating happens. Your reticular activating system, the brain's attention filter, starts prioritizing information related to that goal. Suddenly you notice opportunities you would have missed, connections you wouldn't have made, resources that were always there but invisible to you before. It's not magic. It's selective attention. Your brain shows you what you've told it matters. So people who manifest aren't bending reality. They're programming their perceptual filters to recognize and seize relevant opportunities. The visualization makes the goal concrete. The concreteness directs attention. Attention enables action. Action creates results. Then they credit manifestation, when really they've just optimized their brain's search algorithm for a specific outcome. Either way, it works. Number 2, daily gratitude practices. This one's been validated by so much research, it's almost boring at this point, except people still don't do it. Regularly acknowledging what you're grateful for measurably rewires your brain. It strengthens neural pathways associated with positive emotion and weakens pathways associated with threat detection. Over weeks, gratitude practice literally shifts your baseline emotional state toward optimism. And here's where it connects to luck. Optimistic people aren't luckier because the universe favors them. They're luckier because they're more likely to notice positive opportunities, more willing to take social risks, more resilient after setbacks, and more pleasant to be around, which means people want to help them. Pessimists and optimists can experience the same event and extract completely different value because they're attending to different aspects. The optimist notices the opportunity. The pessimist notices the risk. Both are real, but only one moves forward. Gratitude practice trains your attention toward abundance, possibility, and connection. It's not about denying reality. It's about balanced perception. Most people have a negativity bias. Gratitude practice corrects for it. You're not becoming irrationally positive. You're becoming rationally balanced. And balanced perception generates better decisions, which generate better outcomes, which look like luck from the outside. Number 1, simply believing you're a lucky person. This is the meta-superstition that contains all the others. Psychologist Richard Wiseman spent years studying people who considered themselves lucky versus those who considered themselves unlucky. He found that lucky people weren't experiencing more objectively fortunate events. They were interpreting events differently and behaving differently in ways that created more opportunities. Lucky people are more open to new experiences. They notice more because they're not filtering through anxiety. They're more sociable because they expect positive interactions. They persevere longer after setbacks because they believe things will work out. They take more calculated risks because they trust they'll land on their feet. All of this creates a higher surface area for opportunity. It's not mystical, it's mathematical. The more lottery tickets you buy, the more likely you are to win. Except the tickets are social interactions, new experiences, risks taken, and attempts made. Unlucky people buy fewer tickets because they expect to lose, which means they do lose, which confirms they're unlucky. It's a closed loop. Lucky people buy more tickets, win more often, and confirm their luck. Same universe, different strategies. So the ultimate life hack isn't a specific ritual. It's adopting the core belief that you're lucky, then letting that belief reshape your behavior until the belief becomes true. You're not delusional. You're strategically optimistic, and over time, there's no functional difference between that and actually being lucky. So here's what we've actually covered. 8 practices your ancestors stumbled onto that neuroscience has now validated. They weren't magic, they were accidental psychology, power poses that shift hormones, objects that anchor confidence, rituals that reduce cognitive load, belief in momentum that sustains neurochemical performance states, temporal anchors that align biology with psychology, visualization that programs your attention filters, gratitude that corrects negativity bias, and the core belief in luck that reshapes your entire behavioral strategy. The pattern is clear. These so-called superstitions are really just interfaces between conscious belief and unconscious systems. Your ancestors didn't understand the mechanism, but they noticed the results and codified them as tradition. We're lucky enough to live in an era where we understand both. We know why they work, which means we can use them intentionally instead of accidentally. The universe isn't listening to your wishes, but your nervous system is, your reticular activating system is, your endocrine system is. And those systems control your perception, emotion, decision-making, and action, which means controlling those systems is functionally identical to controlling your luck. So pick one. Just one of these. Try it for 2 weeks with genuine commitment. Not as a superstition, but as a cognitive tool. See what shifts, And if you want more content on optimizing the machinery between your ears for actual results in actual life, hit that subscribe button. We're building something special here. I'm Willow, and until next time, trust the process but understand the mechanism, and mind yourself. I'll see you in the next one.